doctrine. There are also differences in terms of political and social impact. The political impact is, if I am a church with over 1 billion members and I have the Pope as the leader, I got a baby. Once in a while we catch him with a little pedophilia, but most of the time it's a straight-on good group, supposedly. But I'll suggest to you that the damage that is done by the Catholic Church, and I'm not talking about pedophilia, that could happen in any religion, it could happen in any non-religion. I'm talking about the damage that they do as a religion. The cults we can isolate. So if you're a Scientologist, there are about 500,000 kooky little Scientologists running around the earth. And out of 6 billion people, that's not many. Now, some of them are well known, Tom Cruise, but we know he's a little crazy. Travolta, he flies underneath the radar, he's not quite as crazy. But here's a religion, here's a cult, based upon a science fiction writer. Dianetics, what a wonderful book. Will free your mind. But you're only in the company of 500,000 people, you have no social or political clout. Unless you have a lot of money, then you might have some clout. But essentially you don't have established the power that the Catholic Church has as a denomination. In 1950s Canada, the Catholic Church held sway. They could suppress other religions, and they did. In Argentina, they were a major force. They ran the governments. The cardinals and the dictators were in bed together, more or less. And I remember reading in the Watchtower back in the 1950s of the persecution of Jehovah's Witnesses in these countries. Sometimes to their great detriment, in other words, death. Because they were a cult, they were a heresy, they were apostates. And you know what we do with those? Atheists. We do have company. They may not like our company, but we do have company. So what are the characteristics that I want to look at in terms of religion, in terms of the cult and the denomination? First of all, they claim to have the true teachings. So, true teachings? That's a capital T, truth. Not just a truth, but the truth. And it's very hard to rebel against the truth. Catholic Church. Have you ever heard the Catholic Church get up and say, we don't have the true teachings? We're just pulling your leg. You think a Muslim, a devout Muslim, is going to stand up and say, we don't have the true teachings. We're just playing with you. And that's true of a Scientologist as well. So what's the difference? Power? Position? Yes. And it helps. They have strong leadership, and you'll notice that the leadership in groups changes over time. If you take the cult, you have a strong charismatic figure, Jesus Christ. Mohammed. Charles Taz Russell, for those of you who do not know this name, founder of Jehovah's Witnesses. Good old Joseph Smith. These were good salesmen. If you don't believe, whether Jesus existed or not, doesn't really matter. If you don't believe that they don't know how to sell, just read the book. He knew how to sell. He was out selling the religion. Paul was perhaps a little better salesman. He spread it further. Viruses do travel. Next, you'll notice that they acquire property. Because that is, after all, the American dream. And we got it to the church. Vast estates. The Reverend movement brought Unification Church, to our blessed shores. Bought the Washington Times. He now owns a media, many points within the media, publishing. That is property. It's property to be used to elevate their position, and they do it. They're also very controlling. And again, you will see really tight controls in small groups, and you'll see much looser control in the larger groups, especially in a pluralistic society like our own. They can't get away with it. Excommunication in the Catholic Church and Washington, really big deal. Disfellowshipment in Jehovah's Witnesses will make you a social outcast, at least from their group. But when you start to think about it, it means a lot. It means a lot to those people that are removed. And that's one of the underlying points in terms of the denomination and the cult. The difference, how they use power and control. Next is indoctrination. Now remember, I started out with the analogy of the cult as a child, the denomination as the mature adult. If you go back to looking at a child, all you have to do is put them into school, preferably non-public schools, church-sponsored schools. Jesuits said that if I get your child when they're young, they'll be a Catholic forever. And that's true. If you can bring people into a religious instruction, you're less apt to question the faith if you're brought up in it from the very beginning. So a denomination, the Catholic Church, how many of you have been approached at your door on the street by Catholics saying, we'd like to welcome you into your church, in our church. We want you to understand what the Eucharist is about. We want you to understand what transubstantiation is. Now, we know what. So, there you go. But the child, that's different. Now, cults, they have to approach adults. Adults can be pretty wily. They actually think sometimes, on rare occasions. And so you start out with nice soft things like a new heavens and a new earth. And then you move into the nitty-gritty. The Unification Church is a very good example of indoctrination and control. I had the privilege, a student of mine at the University of Minnesota was doing a project on anthropology, and he wanted to go to a meeting of the Moonies, Unification Church. Who could I talk to that would be stupid enough to do this with me? Yes, I'm here. Because I'm fascinated by this stuff. This is really good stuff. So you go in, they show you a wonderful movie, and they tell you, after the meeting today, you get into our vans, we'll take you to this wonderful paradise down in Iowa, and you won't want to return. And I tell you, if you looked at that film, you would have drunk that night. It was very close. Very close. But that's not indoctrination. That's just enticement. They work at a brainwashing level, unlike most of your cults. And what they do is this. Sleep deprivation. Good old technique. Let you have naps, but keep you awake, keep you awake, keep you awake. And then have you listen to the Reverend Moon sing his tunes. One of his tunes is, after you've been in there for a while, Armageddon is coming, and it is going to be fought on the 32nd parallel in Korea.